Most people argue from one perspective. They defend their side, they cling to their truth, they double down even when the cracks show. But Sigma INFJs don't work that way. They see their side, they see your side, they see the third angle no one considered, and the hidden motive no one said aloud. This isn't just empathy, it's pattern recognition. It's perception so sharp it feels like a blessing at first. But with time they learn, seeing all sides is not freedom. It's a curse. Because once you see everything, you can't unsee anything. Part 1. The gift that feels like a burden. At first, this ability feels like power. They can resolve conflicts before they start. They can anticipate outcomes before others notice the setup. They can bridge divides, soften tensions, create peace. But soon they realize, seeing all sides also means carrying all sides. When someone vents to them, they don't just hear the story. They hear the other person's perspective too, even if that person isn't in the room. Their mind automatically balances the scales, and what others mistake for neutrality is actually exhaustion, because holding all perspectives means rarely being able to rest in one. Part 2. Empathy. That cuts both ways. Sigma INFJs can feel the anger of one person while simultaneously feeling the fear of the other. They can understand the betrayer while still aching for the betrayed. They can see the context behind cruelty without excusing it. This dual empathy confuses people. You're supposed to be on my side. You're defending them? No, I just understand. But understanding doesn't always feel like support. And so the Sigma INFJ finds themselves alienated, punished for nuance, rejected for refusing to demonize anyone completely. Their empathy becomes a liability, because the world prefers clear villains and heroes, not complexity. Part 3. Arguments become internal civil wars. Most people leave an argument with anger. Sigma INFJs leave with analysis. They replay every word, not just theirs, but yours. Not just the tone, but the silence in between. And while you've moved on, they're still caught in the loop, seeing every angle, every motivation, every what if. It's not rumination for the sake of drama. It's the inability to shut off perspective shifting. And so the argument continues. It just keeps echoing inside them until the analysis is complete. Part 4. Decision-making feels like betrayal. When you see all sides, choosing one feels like betrayal, not just of others, but of truth itself. Because the Sigma INFJ knows every choice has collateral, every perspective has validity, every right decision still carries unintended consequences. So they delay. They wrestle with themselves far longer than anyone realizes. It's not indecision, it's integrity. The refusal to choose blindly when they know the invisible costs others ignore. But while others admire their depth, they rarely understand the toll it takes. Part 5. They see motives others miss. The Sigma INFJ doesn't just see sides, they see motives. The pride under the apology, the insecurity behind the anger, the longing disguised as indifference. And once they see it, they can't unsee it. This makes relationships complicated, because while others take words at face value, the Sigma INFJ is already several layers deeper, decoding what was hidden, sensing what was withheld. It sounds like a superpower. But in reality, it makes connection difficult. Because once you see someone's shadow, you can never interact with them as if you didn't. Part 6. They can't fully hate, even when they should. Hatred requires tunnel vision. The ability to see only the wound, only the betrayal, only the flaw. But Sigma INFJs can't do that. They see the wound and the wounder. They see the pain that caused the cruelty. They see the humanity inside the harm. And so, while others burn bridges with clean certainty, the Sigma INFJ walks away quietly, not because they condone the harm, but because they've seen the full story. This inability to hate completely isn't forgiveness. It's complexity. Part 7. They become the mediator, even when they don't want to. Because they see all sides, people naturally turn them into mediators. Can you talk to them? Can you explain my side? You're the only one they'll listen to. And while they're good at it, it's draining because it forces them to hold everyone's emotions, even when their own are already heavy. They didn't choose this role. It was assigned to them over and over until they learned that sometimes the only way to survive is to step out of the middle entirely. Part 8. They struggle to belong in polarized spaces. The world thrives on polarization. Left versus right. Us versus them. But not the Sigma INFJs. They refuse to oversimplify. They refuse to cheer blindly. They refuse to reduce truth to slogans. This makes them outsiders in almost every space. Too empathetic for one side, too critical for the other. Never fully understood by either. And yet, they stay loyal to nuance, because to abandon it would mean betraying their vision of truth. And that's the one betrayal they cannot live with. Part 9. They retreat to preserve clarity. Seeing all sides is exhausting. It fills their mind with contradictions, paradoxes, and conflicts no one else seems to notice. So they retreat to stillness, to solitude, to environments where they only have to hold their own perspective for a while. These retreats aren't escapism, they're maintenance, because without them, their empathy, selective as it is, becomes unbearable. And when they finally re-emerge, it's with sharper clarity, ready to hold the world again. Part 10. They learn to use the curse as wisdom. With time, the Sigma INFJ realizes they can't stop seeing all sides. It's wired into them, it's who they are, so they stop fighting it and start using it. They become the quiet strategists, the ones who can anticipate outcomes no one else saw, the ones who can hold nuance in a world desperate for certainty, the ones who can bring compassion into conflict without losing discernment. What felt like a curse becomes a form of wisdom. Not easy to carry, but invaluable when wielded with care. Conclusion. The weight of their vision is also their gift. The Sigma INFJ sees too much, feels too much, holds too much. And yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it isolates them. Yes, it makes them misunderstood, but it also makes them rare. Because while others defend one corner of truth, they hold the whole map. And though it feels like a curse, it's also a calling. To see, to synthesize, to soften, to sharpen, even when no one thanks them for it. The curse of seeing all sides is heavy, but for the Sigma INFJ, it's one of the reasons that make them unforgettable.